The word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
Sometimes being uncool makes you cool. Take Rowley, a character in the Diary of a Wimpy Kid. There is this scene where Greg, on a quest to become a cool middle schooler, arrives with his mom at the mother-son dance. And he's begging her to stop bopping along to the beat as they walk in the door. So many things threaten Greg's quest for coolness. His best friend Rowley doesn't understand this whole coolness impulse. So when the Beastie Boys song Intergalactic comes on, Rowley and his mom bust out these great dance moves that they've clearly choreographed together, and it gets everyone else up and dancing except for Greg. Greg is baffled by this. His response, which you hear him in his head say, is, "You have got to be kidding me." No, young Greg, no kidding here. The way to be cool is to be fully yourself, to cast out those fears of being an outcast and embrace the gift of being alive as fully as possible. What makes Rowley cool is his freedom to enjoy the moment and the delight that that freedom offers to others. The way it invites others to cast out worries about being an outcast, to join in the fun. His way of being draws in the cast out. It brings all of those party goers together, cool and uncool, except for one. Greg remains alone at the table, sitting there, pouting. In a very similar way, there is this good news that Jesus' presence and healing offer to us that draws us into a space of pure freedom with others, to be this gathering of beautiful human beings, fully alive, fully in community together, all together. There is this freedom in Jesus that casts out the fear of appearing uncool, being unworthy or unwanted, and draws us into community with others who also desire that freedom, that freedom to connect and to serve, to delight in life, that freedom to dance with life, with others, and with God fully, to be fully ourselves together. In today's gospel, Mark 1, verses 29 through 39, Jesus goes into the room of a sick woman and draws her back into the community where she has the honor of serving other people, including Jesus. Think of her joy in being able to do what she does well for the one who healed her. You know how good that feels. To be restored after an illness and able to return some of the kindness shown to you in your time of need, to get back into the dance and to invite others to be a part of what is so delightful about life and community. It's a bit of a loop, being served and healed, then serving and healing others. I witnessed this loop, I'll call it a loop of love, all the time in this community. A family makes its way through a terrible hardship, then supports another family through something similar. Someone who has always brought food to those facing health issues suddenly is aware of the impact of that action when her husband is in hospice care. We struggle, we experience healing, and then we serve one another. We are in this loop of love together. When Jesus heals Peter's mother-in-law, she then has this beautiful opportunity to thank God directly by putting good food in front of him, by refilling his glass and seeing to his comfort as a guest in her family's home. And Jesus needed to eat. He needed to be nourished by her, by fellowship in her family home, so that he could face the work before him that evening, which was a lot of work. That evening at sundown, everyone in Capernaum brought to Jesus all of the people in the community who were sick or possessed with demons. Think about how intense that would be for Jesus. He needed to be nourished and cared for. Thank goodness that Peter's mother-in-law served Jesus so that he was well and ready for a night of this intense healing action. Jesus cured the sick and cast out the demons, likely for several hours that night. The work of Jesus is to draw people into healing and service, and to cast out whatever actions or beliefs or situations create outcasts. That's what Jesus does. And we all have the power, that power that Jesus offers to us, to do the same. Instead of that other kind of power that we have to treat another person or even our own self like an outcast. I believe that doing that, treating other people like outcasts or treating ourselves like an outcast, doing that is demonic behavior. Treating another human being like an outcast, despising, deriding, rejecting, casting out the humanity we share with all other human beings created in the image of God, that's all demonic behavior. And these are the demonic behaviors that Jesus came to cast out in order to free us from being an outcast, to free us from making outcasts of other people. We take these demonic impulses to use our power to make outcasts, and we take those impulses before Jesus, before that stronger power of Jesus's healing, and we invite Jesus to cast out the demonic impulse, to cast out whatever is in us that wants to make another human being into an outcast. We ask Jesus to cast that away from us, far away from us. Sometimes Jesus just walks right into that place where we lay sick and offers us healing, takes us by the hand and lifts us up. And other times we go out, we seek Jesus. We seek Jesus's healing. We ask Jesus to heal us from the disease of creating outcasts. We seek Jesus's presence to heal us from demonic possession of this impulse within us. And we ask Jesus to cast it out. Now, many of us were taught that the way, this is like Greg in Diary of a Wimpy Kid, we were taught that the way to be an insider in life is to make somebody else into an outsider, an outcast. Jesus teaches us a different way, a better way, to draw others in with dignity and healing and service and gentleness. Now, unfortunately, some view church community as a bunch of insiders who think they are better than all of the outsiders or outcasts. Most of us here in church community know that the only thing that makes anyone into some sort of insider is the grace of God that draws all people together, despite the ways each of us has been an outcast or an imposter or otherwise made to feel unworthy. There are no outsiders out there because we are all within the bounds of Jesus's healing work. There is no place outside of it. We have found that being together in church community keeps us focused on Jesus and nourished by Jesus. We follow Jesus, and we do like Jesus did. We have power to cast out the impulse to make outcasts. We have the power to draw together God's people. We may need to heal before we can muster the energy and strength to serve. We need to be fed before we feed others. And so we go to Jesus looking for healing from the demonic impulses to make outcasts of others. Where can we find Jesus? Where can we find Jesus so that we can ask Jesus to cast out this demonic impulse? Well, in verse 32 and in verse 36 of our text today, we see that people went to Jesus after sundown by the cover of night. They hunted for Jesus as he sought solitude in the wilderness places. They ventured out to the wilderness, and that was dangerous. They ventured out of their homes at night, at a time that was dangerous to be outside, less light to find their way. And they found that it was worth the risk. They were healed of their diseases. They were freed from their demons. It was worth it. Here's a final story today. Once upon a time, a distressed person came to a well-known spiritual master. The master asked this distressed person, "Do you really want a cure?" And the person responded, "If I did not, would I bother to come to you?" To which the master replied, Oh, yes, most people do." "Well, what for? Why would they come to you if they don't want a cure?" The master said, "They don't come for a cure. They come for relief, because a cure is painful." To his disciples, the master said, "People who want a cure, provided they can have it without pain, are like those who want progress, provided they can have it without change." My friends, there is always risk involved in seeking healing. Likely, there will be some pain and discomfort along the way to wholeness, to being free. We must summon our courage. Being healed, being free in this love that Jesus offers us is worth the pain and discomfort along the way. This beautiful life that God has given to us is too precious to waste pouting at the table, afraid of taking any risks, when Jesus is beckoning us to come out there and dance with all the rest of God's beautiful people.
Amen.